Fish on coral reefs that were once a staple food for local people are now in high demand as a delicacy for people in major cities around the world. The majority goes to mainland China and cities like Hong Kong. It's a huge market, and some 30,000 tons of reef fish come into Hong Kong every year. But the fishermen are having to go to coral reefs further and further afield as stocks dry up. Some now travel 3,000 miles on a single fishing trip to find reefs with fish. People like their fish fresh, very fresh. So much so that the cost of live fish is 10 times the cost of fresh dead fish. And the fish in the marketplace are getting smaller and smaller. Dr. Yvonne Sadovi is worried about the amount of juveniles being sold here.
This beautiful animal is a humphead wrasse, and he's called humphead wrasse because of his hump on his head. And the other one is the giant grouper. This is the giant grouper. There's several of them. And these are juveniles. This one is probably a late teenager, but still not a particularly old or well-developed fish. And the majority that we see of these species are young juvenile fish.
Humphead wrasse should be able to live for more than 20 years, but they rarely reach that age these days. They're taken out far too young.
If you have fisheries which take large numbers of juveniles, these animals have not had a chance to reproduce. So you start to wonder, where's the next generation going to come from? If you take too many juveniles, slowly what happens is you don't get enough adults in the next generation, and slowly the populations or stocks decline in numbers. So that's what my concern is, that if this is part of a trend, that we're seeing more and more juveniles being taken in this trade, then that does not augur well for these particular species.
But much more serious than the possible loss of a few species is the loss of an entire habitat, especially one which supports thousands upon thousands of species. Coral reefs are the most diverse communities in our oceans. Many of them have grown up over hundreds, sometimes thousands of years, and over that time a fantastic number of animals and plants have evolved with them. The intricate structure built by the corals themselves provides animals with protection from predators, important breeding sites, and endless feeding opportunities. Tsukiji Market in Tokyo is the biggest fish market in the world. Before I came to Japan, I'd heard a lot about it, but I just wasn't prepared for the scale of it. This warehouse is just the frozen section. In another section there are rows and rows of fresh tuna, and amongst these are a frightening quantity of bluefin. The Japanese are by far the biggest importers of bluefin tuna in the world.
This is big business. These bluefin are fetching £60 a kilo. So in today's auction, a dealer would expect to get £12,000 for this one fish alone.
But the market fluctuates madly, and there have been bluefin here that have fetched more than £100,000. Tuna fishermen don't accept the bluefin numbers are right down, but most scientists firmly believe that they are.
Many people want bluefin tuna listed as CITES Appendix 1. In other words, a total ban on all fishing of them. Unless this is done, there is no way the fishermen, the wholesalers, everybody involved in the market will give up. There's simply too much in it for them.
This market is not just about tuna. There's every conceivable type of fish here.
Nearly 50% of the food eaten in Japan comes from the sea, compared to the world's average of about 15%. They eat enormous quantities of fish, of every species imaginable. But unfortunately, some of those species are in deep trouble.
Hi, I'm Trevor Jones, and I bet a lot of you are wondering, how can we stop the pollution and lionfish infestation on the coral reefs of the Virgin Islands and globally? Well, step one would be to try and eradicate the lionfish, but that is almost near impossible. So, I've come up with 5 simple steps to help give our ecosystem a fighting chance against lionfish and coral reef pollution in the Virgin Islands and also globally. Step 1, beach cleanups. Did you know about almost 80% of garbage in the ocean comes from land-based activities? By doing beach cleanups once a month in the BVI and the US Virgin Islands, and more times in the global community, we can cut that number right down in half. Step 2, raising awareness. By raising awareness in your community and also the global community, we can help cut down global ocean pollution and coral reef pollution right down to size. Step 3, help stop the spread of the Indo-Pacific lionfish in the US and British Virgin Islands. We can help by fishing out the lionfish and selling them to local restaurants and stores, and also get sharks interested in the lionfish so they can also help with the eradication of lionfish in the British and US Virgin Islands. Step 4, you can also help by joining groups such as Reef and also other groups locally in your community that help stop lionfish and also help stop the destruction of coral reefs in your community. Step 5. Grab a friend and start protecting. This is Trevor Jones, and thank you for watching.